One of the most common financial years in Sage accounts is January through to December, which means a lot of you will now be getting a message advising you that the date entered is outside of the current financial year when you're entering transactions. You can click yes to the prompt and the transaction posts. It won't cause you any problems. And there's also a little checkbox here as well to pause this message for the financial year 2015. And by clicking that, it means that you won't get the message each time you post a transaction beyond the year-end date. If you're a bit apprehensive about ticking this box, don't worry, nothing changes other than you won't get the message each time. So I tick the box and then click yes to the prompt and then enter another transaction. You'll see my date's defaulted to the 7th of January. So just enter a nominal code against it, pop in a value, and then when I go to save the transaction, this time I don't get the message. So even though my financial year runs January 2014 to December 2014 and I'm dating the transaction in January 2015, the message no longer appears. If you're not getting this message and you've definitely gone past your year-end date, then you or maybe one of your colleagues will have already ticked the box to pause the message. When you select the tick box on the message, it updates the company preferences, and you can see this setting by going into settings at the top, into company preferences, click yes if you're prompted to close the other windows, and then on the parameters tab in the bottom right corner you've got a pause outside financial year message option, little tick box next to it. You'll see it's ticked in my example. If it's ticked, which it is in this case, the message doesn't appear. If it's not ticked, the message will appear each time you post a transaction beyond the year-end date. Now you can switch this option on and off at any time, and if you've paused the message so it's ticked, it will be reset when you run a year-end. Now there are two instances when the message will still appear even when the box is ticked to pause the message. Let's just quickly demonstrate those ones. The first, if we go into bank and then payments, the first is if we enter a date prior to the start of the current financial year. So remember, my financial year starts January 2014. So if you just go back to December 2013, select the date, as soon as I press the tab key I get a message slightly different, but this time it's just a warning saying date entered is outside of the current financial year. So click OK to that one. It would still let me post it if required. The other is that if you post into the future, and if I just forward date a transaction to January 2016 this time. January 2016, doesn't matter what the date is, so it's actually a date beyond the end of what will be my new financial year. So as long as it's a date beyond that, as soon as I tab past that date, we'll get the same warning, date entered is outside of the current financial year. So it's only paused for transactions that are dated in the 12 months after your current year end. Now, in case you're wondering how far you can go into your new year without running your year end, well, there's no limit on this. However, there are limitations on some reports. It's very common to go 2 or 3 months into the new year before running the year end, but if you need longer, just carry on posting.